Now let's start with applied thermodynamics. Okay, in applied thermodynamics we will read Brayton cycle, Rankine cycle, reciprocating compressors, refrigeration and air conditioning, and heat mass transfer. Okay, heat mass transfer is a different topic, but it also applies laws of thermodynamics. So we will read that too in applied thermodynamics. So the first topic is gas power cycle or gas turbine cycle, which is called Brayton cycle. Okay, turbine gives work, so it's called power cycle, and the gas turbine cycle is also known as Brayton cycle. Okay, in all the topics that we will read in applied thermodynamics, everywhere expansion and compression will be reversible adiabatic, and heat addition and heat rejection will be constant pressure cycle. So here also we have heat addition and heat rejection at constant pressure, and expansion and contraction as reversible adiabatic. Okay, so this is the cycle. This is a clockwise cycle. It's a work producing cycle. Okay, this is a clockwise cycle. From 1 to 2 there is compression, then 2 to 3 there is heat addition in the combustion chamber or heat exchanger, which is also known as boiler. Okay, combustion chamber is also known as boiler. Okay, if it's a regenerative cycle there will be a heat exchanger, so heat addition happens in combustion chamber or heat exchanger or boiler. Then there is a expansion which happens in turbine, and lastly the heat is rejected in the atmosphere or intercooler if you have one, or heat rejection can also in the intercooler the heat happens. So this is the cycle. Now we will find work done in compression, heat addition, and work done in compression, work done in expansion, then heat supplied and heat rejected. Okay, now work done in compressor is equal to H2 minus H1, because from 1 to 2 compression has happened and enthalpy has been increased, so H2 is greater than H1. We will get a positive value here. Work done in compression is H2 minus H1. Okay, all the enthalpy difference that we will calculating will always be a positive value. Okay, we will calculate only positive value. Even though work done is on the system is a negative value, so work done in a compression will be a negative value, but as an enthalpy difference we will always compute only positive values. Okay, so work in compression is H2 minus H1. Then work done by work output by turbine is equal to H3 minus H4, because initially the enthalpy was more and after expansion the enthalpy dropped, so H3 minus H4. Heat supplied is H3 minus H2, because from 2 to 3 heat is supplied and after taking the heat enthalpy has been increased, so H3 minus H2. And this heat rejection is H4 minus H1, because initially the enthalpy was more and then it was less, so H4 minus H1. Okay, now work done in compressor is in terms of a specific volume is equal to a specific volume at 1 into PV minus PC. PV is the boiler pressure and PC is the condenser pressure. Okay, so specific volume at 1 at the inlet of compressor, the specific volume at the inlet of compressor into temperature difference between boiler and condenser and the condenser. We can also find the work done by the compressor. Now if you are asked the power output of the Brayton cycle, so power output is equal to mass flow rate into the net work output. Net work output is work done by turbine minus work done of compression. Now pressure ratio. Now the pressure ratio in a perfect Brayton cycle or an ideal Brayton cycle, the pressure ratio is constant for expansion and compression both. Okay, so pressure ratio Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma because it's an adiabatic process, so gamma is there. So Rp gamma minus 1 by gamma is equal to P2 by P1, which is the pressure ratio. P2 by P1 is the pressure ratio. Okay. P3 by P4 is also pressure ratio. Okay. Because it is equal, both the expansion and compression and expansion have the same pressure ratio. So P2 is equal to P2 by P1 is equal to P3 by P4, and this is the relation that we get in the adiabatic process. So Rp gamma minus 1 by gamma is equal to P2 by P1, gamma minus 1 by gamma is equal to T2 by T1, and is equal to P3 by P4 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma is equal to T3 by T4. Now efficiency of the Brayton cycle, as happens with every efficiency, that thermal efficiency or efficiency is equal to net work output by heat supplied. Okay. So 1 minus QR by QS, because network is equal to net heat, so QS minus QR, so QS by QS is 1, so it's 1 minus QR by QS, okay, is equal to 1 minus Rp gamma minus 1 by gamma. Okay, this is the efficiency of the Brayton cycle. Now work ratio is equal to net work output by work done in expansion or work done by the turbine. Back work ratio is also there, so back work ratio is equal to work done by compressor by work done of turbine. Okay, which is also equal to T2 by T3. Okay, now as you can see that back work ratio and work ratio, addition of both is 1. Okay, because we have work done of turbine in the denominator, and in the numerator we have W net and WC. Addition of both will cancel out WC, and we will have WT by WT is equal to 1. So work ratio plus back work ratio is equal to 1. Now a specific fuel consumption or fuel rate or fuel consumed per kilowatt hour of power produced. Okay, now 1 kilowatt hour is equal to, hour is 3600 seconds, and kilo is 1000 joule, watt is joule per second, so 1 kilowatt per hour is equal to 3600 kilojoule. Okay, so we will find the specific fuel consumption or fuel rate or fuel consumed per kilowatt of power produced is equal to mass flow rate of air, if it's air is used as the gas, if some other gas is used, mass flow rate of that gas, into net work output is equal to 3600 kilojoule, and from this we will get the specific fuel consumption or mass flow rate. Okay, kilogram per second. Okay, if it's in a kilogram, then kilogram. Now air rate is the mass flow rate of air per kilowatt of power produced. Mass flow rate was per kilowatt hour, and here it's only kilowatt. That was 3600 kilojoule, it's only 1000 kilojoule. Okay, now pressure ratio for maximum efficiency. So pressure ratio Rp for the maximum efficiency would be Rp to the power gamma minus 1 is equal to Tmax by T minimum. Tmax is T3 and T minimum is T1. Okay, T3 is the temperature after the heat addition, and T1 is the initial temperature before the compression. Okay, now the pressure ratio is only Rp, not Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Okay, it's Rp value. You will get this Rp value for maximum efficiency. Now pressure ratio for maximum work output. So it's just the under root of Rp max, the Rp max that you got for the maximum efficiency. Okay, this is also known as critical pressure ratio. Critical pressure ratio, the pressure ratio that you get for the maximum work output is also called critical pressure ratio. Now temperature for maximum work output is equal to under root T1 into T3. Okay, geometric mean of T1 into T3. Now efficiency of combustion. Efficiency of combustion is equal to mass flow rate of air plus mass flow rate of fuel into heat supplied by mass flow rate of fuel into calorific value of the fuel. Okay, because that much of heat was supplied by the fuel and that QS was the only given to the system. So how much efficient was that heat given by the fuel was computed using efficiency of the combustion. Okay, now we will see the regenerative cycle. Okay, so in this regenerative cycle you would see that expansion and compression always happens as we see that it's a reversible adiabatic, yani isentropic process. But it may not be a reversible adiabatic, it may be a reversible polytropic process. So if it's the polytropic process, we would go by the graph, the process shown by the pink line. Okay, so pink line 1 to 2 shows polytropic process, polytropic compression, and this 3 to 4, this 3 to 4 is there. Okay, this pink line 3 to 4 shows polytropic expansion, and 1 to 2s is isentropic, then 3 to 4s is isentropic. Okay, adjacent to this 4s is 4, not 3. Okay, now we will compute the isentropic efficiency of the turbine and isentropic efficiency of the compressor. So isentropic efficiency of the turbine is equal to actual work output of the turbine by the isentropic work of the turbine. Okay, because isentropic work is more and actually the work produced by the turbine is less. Similarly, isentropic work consumed by the compressor is less, while the actual work consumed by the compressor is more. Okay, so in terms of enthalpy difference, these are the values, and in terms of temperature, these are the values. So you can compute isentropic efficiency of the turbine and isentropic efficiency of the compressor. Okay, this topic has been discussed before also. Now these values T2s and T4s can be found by the RP, pressure ratio, because pressure ratio is same for a ideal Brayton cycle. So you can find this value using RP, pressure ratio. While the actual, if the question asked about the actual work output of the turbine or compressor or net work output or the efficiency, you will have to go by the polytropic values. If it's given the expansion and contraction are a polytropic process, you have to go by that. Okay, you don't have to go by this 2s values and 4s values. Okay, because these are isentropic. So actual work correspond to T2 and T4. Okay, now in regenerative cycle, efficiency increases and a specific fuel consumption decreases. Why this happens? Because mean temperature of heat addition increases and mean temperature of heat rejection decreases, because the exhaust from the turbine is used to preheat the cold air coming from the compressor. Okay, which is entering into the combustion chamber. Means the air that needs to be heated in the combustion chamber has already been heated by the air that was coming from the exhaust of the turbine. Okay, so mean temperature of heat addition increases, mean temperature of heat rejection decreases, heat supplied decreases, heat rejection decreases, a specific fuel of consumption that would be required, that has been required for that cycle, decreases. Okay, if it has been only Brayton cycle, the specific fuel consumption would have been more, but if it's a regenerative cycle, the specific fuel consumption would be less. Okay, also the efficiency also increases. Okay, So these are all the positive values, okay, that we are getting. Mean temperature of heat addition, higher value. Mean temperature of heat rejection, lower value. Heat supplied and heat rejection both are decreasing. A specific fuel consumption is decreasing and efficiency is increasing, okay. Now effectiveness of heat exchanger, or epsilon, okay. Effectiveness is denoted by epsilon, okay. So effectiveness of heat exchanger or efficiency of regenerator, okay. If it has been asked that what is the efficiency of the regenerator, you can also find using this formula, okay, that the actual temperature rise by the maximum temperature rise. Now T5 minus T2 by T4 minus T2, okay, is equal to 1 minus T1 by T3 into Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma, okay. Now this T5 is temperature in the combustion chamber inlet, okay, or temperature of regenerator. We will see this T5 value again. So this is the regenerative cycle, okay. Both intercooling and reheating happens here, okay. Now if it had been only Brayton cycle, then after compression, the air would have been going to combustion chamber, but it's a regenerative cycle. So air will go to heat exchanger or regenerator first, where it will get heated, then it will enter the combustion chamber, then it will enter the turbine where it will do the expansion work, or will get expanded and we will get the output, okay, from the turbine. From the turbine, this again goes to the regenerator where its reject heats, okay, and the same heat that it rejects get absorbed by the air coming from the compressor, okay. So this is the 5 that has been discussed in the previous formula, okay, and this is 6, okay. In the TS diagram, in the PV diagram, no, in the TS diagram, okay. Yes, TS diagram. Okay. So this is the 6 and this is the 5, okay. Okay. Now only intercooling, okay. So in both intercooling and reheating, efficiency decreases. Both in reheating and intercooling, efficiency decreases, and both reheating and intercooling does the work for which they have been installed, okay. As mean, in intercooling, the work that has to be done by the intercooler is to reduce the compression work, okay. How this has been achieved? So the compression is done in a steps, okay, with intercooling, okay. Means before entering the combustion chamber, okay, you will see this again. So this is the first is low pressure compressor, then there is high pressure compressor, then there is turbine, then first is intercooler, okay. From the low pressure compressor, the air flows, first the air enters into the low pressure compressor, okay. Then from the low pressure compressor, it goes to the intercooling, okay. From intercooling, it rejects heat, okay, it gets cold, then again enters the high pressure compressor. Why it is high pressure? Because the air has already been compressed, so it is having a pressure value. So this is high pressure compressor. So air enters the high pressure compressor. From this high pressure compressor, the compression is done, and this compressed air goes into the combustion chamber, gets heated, and enters the turbine, where the expansion work happens and we get the output from the turbine, and finally the heat is rejected into the air or atmosphere, into the atmosphere. Okay. So this is the TS diagram and this is the PV diagram. Okay. 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 So here we also have a clockwise cycle because it's a work producing cycle. Okay. Now 2 to 3 intercooling is done, temperature is reduced. Okay, temperature is reducing here. 2 to 3 intercooling is done, and intercooling is also at constant pressure. Okay, heat rejection is happening at constant pressure. Then 3 to 4 is compression, 4 to 5 is heat addition in combustion chamber. Okay, 5 to 6 is in the turbine expansion work. Then 6 to 1 is heat rejection in atmosphere. Okay. Now again, if the polytropic compression or polytropic expansion happens, so you can find out by this graph. Okay. Now work done in compressor is work done in compression is equal to work done by the low pressure compressor plus work done by the high pressure compressor. Okay, this is equal to H2 minus H1 plus H3 minus H4 is equal to 2 into n minus 1 2 into n by n minus 1 into MRT1 by P2 by P1 to the power n minus 1 by n minus 1. Now n is the polytropic index. If it's a adiabatic or isentropic, so it has been gamma. It should be gamma. Okay, 1.4 for diatomic and air, and 1.334 for triatomic gases. Now for perfect intercooling and maximum work output, okay, so work done by compression, both the compressor are equal. So work done in low pressure compressor is equal to work done in high pressure compressor. Okay, and the temperature of inlet for both the compressor, the compressor are equal, and also the outlet temperature for both the compressor are equal, and the pressure ratio of both the compressor are also equal. Okay, work done is same, heat input and output are same, temperature of the input and output are same, and pressure ratio of both the compressor are same. Okay. Once again, reheating. So in intercooling, the compression was done in steps. In reheating, the expansion will be done in steps. Okay. In intercooling, before in compression, heat was getting absorbed or heat was taken out from the air before entering the combustion chamber. In reheating, the air is expanded twice. Okay, or whatever the number of steps of reheating are taken, that number of expansion would happen. Okay, so here we are showing only 2 steps. Okay, high pressure turbine and low pressure turbine. So once again, the air is entering at 1 at compressor, then it's entering the combustion chamber in 2 to 3. Then from the combustion chamber, the expansion happens in high pressure turbine because the pressure is highly pressurized. So it's a high pressure turbine. Then from the high pressure turbine, it's enter the reheater because once again the air gets heated, and after that expansion happens in low pressure turbine. Okay, because already the pressure has been released in high pressure turbine, so whatever the pressure is remaining decreases in low pressure turbine, expansion work happens, and finally the air is released into the atmosphere. So once again in reheating also efficiency decreases and work output increases, so net work output also increases. Work done in turbine increases, so net output work is also increasing. Now once again the TS and PV diagram. Okay. Okay. So once again, this is a clockwise cycle, means work producing cycle, because we have been doing the Brayton cycle, it's a gas producing cycle, but I'm just repeating this term because clockwise cycles are always work producing cycle. If there is a cycle that is clockwise, you have to understand that this is a work producing cycle. Okay, now this is the TS diagram and this is the PV diagram. Okay, 1 to 2 is isentropic, 3 to 4 is isentropic, 5 to 6 is isentropic. Okay, these are all the compression and expansion process. 3 to 4 is expansion is high pressure turbine, 5 to 6 is expansion in low pressure turbine, 1 to 2 is compression. Okay, 3 to 4 is expansion, 5 to 6 is expansion, 1 to 2 is compression, 2 to 3 is heat added in combustion chamber, 4 to 5 is heat added in reheater. Okay, and 6 to 1 is heat rejected. Okay, all the heat are added at constant pressure and the expansion and compression are reversible adiabatic. Okay, now if the reversible it's not adiabatic, then it would be polytropic process. Okay, so in ideal, wherever it's given ideal, we will go with adiabatic. Okay, once again for perfect reheating and maximum work output, as it was happening in perfect intercooling, that both the turbine will do the same work as it was in intercooling, that both the compressor were doing the same work, and heat at the temperature of inlet and outlet of both the turbines are equal, and the pressure ratio for both the turbines are equal. Okay, now if has been perfect intercooling and perfect reheating, the pressure ratio was equal. Okay, but if the pressure ratio are not equal, okay, then overall pressure ratio would be product of both. Okay, means pressure ratio for the cycle is equal to pressure ratio of product of pressure ratio of low pressure and high pressure compressor or low pressure or high pressure turbine. Okay, is the pressure ratio of compression and pressure ratio of expansion. Okay, okay, if the pressure ratio of compression is asked in intercooling, okay, then pressure ratio would be pressure ratio in low pressure compressor and pressure ratio in high pressure compressor. Okay, product of both would be the overall pressure ratio for intercooling. If it's the overall pressure ratio for reheating, then it would be the pressure ratio of low pressure turbine into pressure ratio of high pressure turbine. So this formula shows that, okay, the pressure ratio for the intercooling cycle or reheating cycle is equal to product of pressure ratio of LPC and HPC or LPT and HPT respectively. In both intercooling and reheating, efficiency decreases, mean temperature of heat addition or rejection increases, both heat supplied and heat rejection increases, and they do the work for which they had been installed. Means work done in compressor increases while work done in turbine is same for intercooling, and work done of turbine increases while the work done by the compressor is same in reheating. Okay. In regenerative cycle, efficiency increases, a specific fuel consumption decreases, mean temperature of heat addition increases, mean temperature heat rejection decreases, heat supply decreases, and heat rejection decreases. Means all good things. So thank you.